Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. There's a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 141, where I was white here, played d4, and we got into a queen's gambit declined. You can see there's quite a popular opening based on the number of games played, and we're choosing the top one or two moves here all along. Bishop g5 is the second choice here after knight f3, but I like to play different things. I play e3 sometimes here to avoid the lines where black takes the pawn and you don't recapture immediately. But you can play knight f3, and those lines are fine. But some of them get complicated, I guess. C takes d5 is the line that's been recommended by Chess Explained. It looks pretty good. I've played that a few times. And bishop g5 is quite a playable move as well. So bishop e7 is the main response, and now I'm playing e3 for the same reason I mentioned earlier, which is I don't want to have to worry about those lines where black takes on c4 in this position, tries to hold on to the pawn. So my opponent plays a bit of a rare move here, c6, and this actually transposes. Right now we're in a mainline queen's gambit declined, and one of the ideas in this I think it's the Lasker variation. You can play your knight here and then trade off this light squared bishop either before or after playing the move h6. And it's good for equality with black. c6 in this position is a bit rare. Usually it's played earlier if you're going to play it. And we've transposed into the semi-Slav at this point. So, but it's still a fairly normal position. The most common move here would be knight bd7. He castled first, and I'm playing bishop d3 and castling instead of moving my pieces to the c file. It's all pretty playable here, and white has some small opening advantage after all of this. The normal move here would be bishop h4. I play bishop to f4. And I'm leaving the chess engine off. I looked at this with a chess engine, but there's actually quite a few tactical quiz opportunities here, and I didn't want to deprive you of these chances by giving the answer away with the chess engine. I have to say that I thought this was a pretty good attacking game, but when I looked at it afterwards, and while I start out the attack okay, I don't finish it very well, and this is actually a problem I have in real long-term games as well. Slow time control games as well as these blitz games. It's tough to find those best moves to continue the attack. So I find it very instructive to look at how the best way to proceed with the attack is. And so I hope you guys find it instructive too. So my opponent played knight h5. This is a very logical move. And the move I played, bishop g3, actually gives away a lot of the opening advantage, and after this the chess engine thinks it's equal. Basically it recommends just leaving the bishop there. You know, if black takes that bishop, you get a pawn on f4, and it helps you to clamp down on the e5 square, and it's actually even though it's a doubled pawn, it actually is contributing to the control of the center and cramping black's position, so it's pretty good. So there was no need to play bishop g3, but I had ideas of getting an attack along the h-file later, and so we make some normal moves. So this move here, knight h7, the chess engine also questioned this. So white, after this move, white has got sort of his normal opening advantage back. So I lost it for a few moves and then I got it back. The best move here for black, according to the chess engine, is knight d7, and that's logical. It's a more central location for the knight. It's hitting more critical squares and gives black the opportunity to trade off my knight on e5 if necessary. So he plays there, and now I have that slight advantage once again, and I continue developing with an eye towards a kingside attack. I'm lining up my pieces here, so he's got to do something about the knight on h7. So maybe that was one of the reasons why it was not such a great move. He's got to move it back because there's no good way to defend it there. Looks pretty horrible to play g6. It might not even be playable. It might be possible to sacrifice there. You get two pawns and wide open king position, and either a knight or a bishop on that square. Soon to be followed by a queen, so could be pretty dangerous. So knight back is is probably the best move, but white still has that advantage. And then queen e2, since this battery is not looking so useful. And I was thinking of playing now g4, g5, and opening things up. My opponent plays bishop d7. I play g4. He plays d takes c4. And I think this is one of my best moves of the game. I just play bishop c2. I don't bother to retake the pawn. I want to keep my bishop on this good diagonal, and just want to push ahead with g5 and open up the king side. And it doesn't. It's worth a pawn to me to not lose a tempo in my attack. And looking at this with the chess engine, the engine thinks white still has an advantage. It wouldn't necessarily choose this move bishop c2, but it thinks white still has an advantage. So it's not like I've given anything up by playing this. So I still think that's a good choice in retrospect. And now the best way for black to respond to this attack is to actually move the knight, or perhaps play bishop takes e5 and then move the knight. And possible squares for the knight are d5 or back to h7. So this move h takes g5, which my opponent played, it gives pretty good attack to white. I'll play f takes, and now the knight has to move. And after the knight goes to h7, I follow up with the very logical bishop takes h7 check, because the queen is just coming here with overwhelming effect. And in fact, in this position, the computer is already saying there's a mate in 8. So that's a clue. So I did not find the best way to follow up the attack. So I would say my play in the game to this point has been pretty good quality. No blunders. Not always, the absolute best move, but usually that's one of the top moves. So I played pretty well. I've got an attack, and my opponent has made a couple of mistakes and should lose the game pretty quickly at this point. When you've got a good attacking position, games can really turn around in a hurry, or can finish off in a hurry. So this is your first opportunity for a tactical quiz. I'm not expecting you to find the mate in 8, although you can search for it if you want to. But just what's the best move for white here? And you don't have to look a whole bunch of moves ahead. I think just 1 or 2 moves is sufficient. Okay, have you found the move yet? I'm going to give the answer away. Pause the video if you want to think about it some more. And I think this is a good position on which to exercise your tactical abilities. So it's worth spending some time on if you haven't figured it out yet or come up with an answer yet. The answer is knight takes f7. So first of all, it's got 2 defenders and 2 attackers, so it's safe on that square. So that was just a loose pawn. Why not grab it? But if we can erase all of these lines, it's got a couple of other threats along with it. It's attacking the queen, and it's threatening queen to h8 checkmate. So that double threat is pretty devastating. And there's various ways that black can respond, but any queen move, of course, will lead to checkmate. So the main line goes rook takes, queen takes, and you've won an exchange, and you're continuing the attack. And in fact, you're going to mate pretty quickly with the rook up and over. And basically, white can just throw a few pieces in the way, and then it's game over. So that's the quickest finish to the game. Just knight takes f7. And I had this preconceived idea. I guess this is one of the dangers, particularly in Blitz, where you don't always stop and consider what's the best move each time. You have a plan, and you play out your moves ahead of time without considering if that's still the best move. Rook to f3, that was my move. And he played bishop takes e5. Okay, so here's another instructive moment. What's the best move for white here? Okay, this one's pretty simple, but if you haven't got it yet, pause the video and look at it till you get it. That's my recommendation anyway. Okay, I'm going to give the answer away. They're very simple. Rook h3. I mean, why not? You've lifted the rook so as to threaten mate. The knight was not really necessary in the attack. And what can black do to defend against the mate threat? In fact, this is a mate in 4, I think, according to the chess engine. It's hard to see anything other than mate in 2. If he does nothing, if he plays some kind of nothing move, there's a mate in 1, right, with queen h8. If he plays g6, for example, queen here is checkmate. That defends the h square, but h7 is checkmate. And what else can he try? Maybe moving the f pawn is one of the best tries. And then pawn to g6. And now, once again, the king is running out of time. If you move the rook out of the way to try and give the king time, it's just too late. So the only thing he can do is interpose pieces, play moves like queen h4 and stuff like that. So that's checkmate. So I didn't play that either. I played the automatic recapture. So that's your second lesson. Don't always follow through with your plans. Pause and think about it. Don't always play the automatic recapture. If you've got a mate threat, it's better than recapturing a piece. Or can be. Of course, you have to calculate it correctly. So now I play rook h3, and he plays king f8, and right here, yeah. What's White's best move at this point? Did I skip one? Let's go back. 24 instead of rook h3. Yeah, there's a better move here instead of rook h3. Okay, this is your third tactical quiz. There's a certain similarity to these positions, so but it's each one is a little bit different. So what's the best move here for White? Okay, I'm going to give the answer away. It is queen takes f7 check. Somehow I keep missing the this idea of taking on f7. Last time it was knight on f7. This time it's queen on f7. Okay, there's only a couple moves the king has. Doesn't really matter. Say he goes here, and then you've got the mate here. So that was a mate in 2. So we went. I missed a mate in 8, then I missed a mate in 5, then I missed a mate in 2. I played in this position. I played rook h3, which would have been mating the previous move, but is a little bit slower now. He plays king f8, and now here's my last chance. There's one more mating attack move here that I could have played and didn't. So what's the best move for White in this position? This is your fourth and I think final final quiz here. Yeah, it's a little more subtle. If you want to spend some time thinking about it, it's probably worthwhile. It's good to develop these attacking skills, though. Anyway, I'm going to give the answer away. Rook f1. Bring another piece into the attack. Threatening mate. Queen takes f7 is now mate. And it's interesting that no matter where the king moves, it's still mate. Like if the king goes here, queen takes f7 is still checkmate because the pawn is guarding this escape square and his queen is blocking that one. If the king stays where he is, it's checkmate, and if the king goes here, it's also checkmate. So this is pretty serious. What is it that Black can play here? He needs to defend the f-pawn or move it, and unfortunately defending with the queen from e7 or with the rook from e7 just allows queen h8 mate, so really he has to move the f-pawn. And then you have this kind of variation again. You play g6. Actually, I'm sorry, I take it back. You check first. And then if the king goes here, this is checkmate. So the king goes here to defend. Then you play g6 check. This is kind of a neat variation. Now, if the king moves, his only legal move is here, and this is checkmate again. So he has to take the pawn, and then queen here is checkmate, because this is a famous checkmating pattern with the queen diagonally opposed to the king. It covers all the squares except these, and this square is blocked by a pawn, and this square is attacked by white's pawn. So this pawn on e5, if you notice, this kept participating in all these mating nets. So this actually is a very critical and important piece in the attack, and something to keep in mind when you are worried about trading your piece for a pawn on e5. That pawn can come in really handy. Okay, so that was all the mating threats that I missed, mating nets that I missed. I played queen h8 check, and now his king can just walk to safety. So not a very well played attack. Although I have to give myself credit for playing the first part of the game good and getting the good attack. But sometimes you need to slow down and figure out how to finish the game. And I would have done better in a slow time control game. I think it's being in a blitz game, I was just moving a little too quickly. So now black has some advantage along here. Let's see, on move 28. White continues to have an advantage here. It's just not as big as it was. And here, I let my opponent trade queens. The best move, according to the chess engine, is just playing a check here. I didn't look into the variation, but basically keep the queen on the board and keep attacking. The way the game went down, I played knight e4, he took, and I took back with the knight, thinking this would be pretty good for me. It threatens to win a piece or the exchange, and so it's going to win some material, but it was better to keep the piece on, the queen on, because even though I win the exchange, actually black has a lot of pawns. He's an extra pawn over here, 2 pawns over here, and these 2 pawns, I'm sorry, I take it back. The pawns are even, but he's got, my pawns are kind of messed up. I guess that's the advantage. So my advantage is not as strong as being a full exchange up, and black can continue to play on and does for quite a few moves, and it's not actually until he makes one more mistake that I get the final advantage and manage to win the game. So we're doing normal moves so far. I'm trying to prevent these pawns from becoming a giant pawn roller and steaming into my position. So I had moved this pawn up out of the way so this rook could defend laterally as well as attack this way. And I'm moving this pawn up on a3 so that he might exchange it or push. I'm not going to take. It would be a bad move for me to take because I need to have this lineup of pawns that are just coming down. So it's to tempt him into taking that pawn, and then that makes it easier for me to blockade him. So that was the idea there. But he doesn't take. He plays rook, and now I play the move g6. And this move here, he finally takes here. B takes a3, and that's his last mistake. He should really take this pawn on g6 and eliminate that threat. And now he might have to take here. I'm not sure how this is going to resolve, but the chess engine rates this as only slightly better for white, so it means that black has definite drawing chances. I thought I was going to be pretty good here because of the threat of the check and winning the bishop, so he has to take care for that, but according to the chess engine he can handle all that and maybe even draw the game. So it's quite a far cry from those mate in 2 and mate in 4 that I missed. But fortunately for me, after I played the move g6, he played b takes a3 over here, and now I just take back, and he plays his rook down here. And now this is a common theme or tactic in endgames. The theme is the unstoppable pawn. So if you want to think about this position a little bit and cover up the right side of the board. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show what happened. I played rook takes b3, he takes back, and then I advance my pawn. And of course he didn't have time to take anymore. After I take his rook, he's got to take mine back or it'll be a piece down. But what's happened is that this pawn on e5 once again is preventing his king from getting close to my pawn, and the pawn itself is defending the square f8, so the king can't sneak in that way. Actually, I take this back. It's the square f6 is irrelevant because if the king goes back here, the pawn will queen anyway. It's the square f8 that's important. The king needs to get to next to the pawn to stop it from queening. It really needs to get to this square, f7, and his own piece is there. So the pawn is helping defend itself and prevent the king from getting in to take it. So I'm going to get a queen and win the game. So he played b2 and I played rook b6. I don't want him to get a queen. That would make the game messy. I would still have an advantage because I would queen first, but he would queen with check, and it's complicated enough. He might actually hold a draw, or maybe even turn it around and win if I make a mistake. So simplest and most effective way to win the game is stop that pawn from queening. He still can't stop the white pawn from queening, so white's going to win. Okay, so my opponent resigned here. I thought pretty interesting and instructive game. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again later. Bye.